Welcome to the real life show, Living with a Chronic Illness. We are your hosts, Cassie and Chelsea. I'm Cassie, a single mom living with a chronic illness who is extremely passionate about living a full and happy life.
And I'm Chelsea, a mindset coach that has a passion for helping people learn to put themselves first and be the best version of themselves each and every day.
We came together to create Spoonies Unite, an uplifting community that offers resources, guidance, and support so you can live your best life while giving you the space to be yourself, be heard, and feel understood. We hope that by providing education from experts, we help Spoonies and their loved ones thrive.
This show is not only for those who live with a chronic illness, but their friends, family, spouses, and just anyone else existing on the earth. Our goal is to normalizing having a chronic illness by sharing the real stories with real people and show the world how relatable those everyday struggles can be. There's a little something in here for everyone.
And of course, thank you to our patrons for your continued support making this possible. If you love our show and want to get some extra goodies, go to patreon.com/TheRealSpooniesUnite. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Real Life Show, Living with a Chronic Illness. Cassie and I are really excited about today's episode because it's kind of a throwback topic for us. So, like a year ago, when we first started Spoonies Unite, it was an in-person support group that we wanted to be more than just people talking about what they were going through. We wanted it to be educational. And since then, we have decided to go outside of just our immediate physical community and come on to the internet community. Mm-hmm. And so back it must have been December 2019, we did this, or maybe it was November. I don't know. It was the end of last year. We did a Surviving the Holidays presentation at one of our in-person meetings. And we thought that we should share all the information with all of you. So if you are a member of the Spoonie Hub, you get all of the videos of these recordings, of our podcast recordings. And so today, I'm going to share my screen for those of you that are watching the video. And if you're not watching the video, go become a member of the Spoonie Hub so you can watch the video of the presentation that we gave a year ago. So you'll be able
because it's so good that we're redoing it, or we're reusing it.
And visual representation is sometimes important so that way you can see what we're saying. So if you are a visual person and want to see it, you can access the video through the Spoonie Hub.
Speaking of which, you can see this video on mywellnesshub.co at our Spoonie Hub. And also we started, but also we started a YouTube channel. Oh, yeah, so you can listen to our episodes and look at a beautiful graphic on our YouTube channel. Just so you know, the channel is called Spoonies Unite, and all of our podcast episodes will be available there. Mm-hmm. Okay, ready, Chelsea, go.
You can't see the presentation on that one, but you can.
Correct. But it's just, if you like to listen to your podcasts via YouTube,
you can now.
You can now do that. Okay, Yay. Surviving the holidays.
Surviving the holidays. So first off, we talked about spoons. Cassie and I elected to maybe not talk about spoons on this podcast or the time tracking that we also started talking about at our meeting a year ago, because there's a whole other episode on spoons and time tracking back in season 1. So if you're like, I don't know what a spoon is, or I don't know what you mean by time tracking, then I highly recommend that you go back and you find the spoons and time tracking episode. It's a good one. It's not very long. It has a fun freebie on it too. But basically the big lesson or reason why we talked about that was we want everyone to be aware of their energy during the holiday season, because the holiday season asks for a lot of us. A lot more than I think most other times of year do. And so by being aware of your energy and how you're spending your time, you can set yourself up to feel a little bit better. So go back and listen to that episode. And then we want to talk about self-care, which we also have a whole episode.
This is amazing.
About.
You know what? Just so you know, when we made this slideshow, we had no podcast in the works. So It's pretty incredible that we've got full episodes on this now. This is fun.
Yeah, and obviously these are like our favorite topics because we talk about this stuff a lot.
Yeah, and it's obviously really relevant as a spoonie. So get your shit
so
together and listen to these episodes.
go listen to them. But what we wanted to kind of touch on when it comes to self-care during the holidays is take care of you, obviously, but don't say yes to things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to that Christmas party, say no, please.
Yeah.
If you don't have the energy to go caroling with your friends, not that anyone, I don't know if people really carol anymore.
Singing is like a COVID spreader right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
So please don't go singing caroling.
But like if you don't want to go over to grandma's house and bake cookies with your family because you're tired, say no.
Yeah, and then ask them to just bring you cookies.
Yeah. If you don't want to go to something, don't go. I used to struggle with this a lot where if someone invited me to something, I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And I have a tendency to be kind of an introvert at times. I just really like to lie on my couch and watch movies and read books. And so I don't always want to go to social events with people, especially if it's like a big one or there's people that I don't know very well. I'm like, no, thank you. And don't do things if you don't want to. Just say no.
Yeah, it's okay. What I think where you were going with that, Chelsea, was that you want to say no to say yes.
Yes.
So the things that you say no to, yeah, like, no, I don't have the energy to go to grandma's house and bake cookies right now because I, want to go to my work Christmas party because it's a hoot, you know?
Yes.
So remember that when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And even if that person or that yes is yourself, that's okay too.
So just like, don't do things that you don't want to do. I used to struggle with that a lot, and now I don't. Because I released the guilt there. Okay, so then besides taking care of yourself, managing your energy, let's talk about food. Because there's a lot of social events that happen during the holidays, and we did make this presentation pre-COVID. So depending on what your family, friend decisions are of seeing people over the holidays, this might not be as big of an issue for you. I know Cassie and I have talked that like neither one of us is really going to be traveling for the holidays. We're going to have kind of a more chill holiday season. But we wanted to still share this information for those of you that maybe will be around more people or have as close to traditional holiday season as maybe is possible with the times currently. But food is often at social events, and it's not always food that you can eat. And so we wanted to come up with some tips to help you get through those situations.
So like, I actually really love cooking holiday meals. My mom was a great cook, and I always helped out cooking the family meals. And it was kind of a blessing because then when she passed away, I knew how to make all of her like secret special recipes. And it really meant a lot to me several years ago, like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something, when I made a full Christmas dinner and my brother came and he said that it all tasted just like our mom's Christmas dinner. That was like so rewarding for me. Yeah. She has an amazing gravy recipe, which has usually like a half a bottle of red wine in it, and roast potatoes. Great, like fantastic.
You had me at half a bottle of red wine.
Right. Yeah, the gravy is like the bomb. So I love cooking like a huge Thanksgiving and Christmas meal. The last 2 years, it has been really hard for me to do that with my spoons. I was working a lot and stuff, and so I didn't actually have the energy to do so and to make that much food that I couldn't really eat, all the leftovers, because right now where I'm at with a lot of my food intake is sometimes I can eat stuff like sporadically. But for example, if I were to eat like a Thanksgiving or Christmas meal, most of the food that comes with that, I might be okay to eat that meal, not overdo it. I cannot eat a giant plate. I'll die. But, to have enough to enjoy and like taste and everything. But then if I were to try and have it as leftovers every day, like that's not a good choice for me. So anyways, actually the last 2 years for Thanksgiving, we ordered the Cracker Barrel Thanksgiving. A friend told me to try it, and it was actually like really good. And I didn't have an upset tummy. Like I was full, don't get me wrong, but the Cracker Barrel food actually went okay. So it might even be that you have to think really outside the box. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that I was like really judgmental for a really long time, basically until the last 2 years, where I would like never eat like a Cracker Barrel for Thanksgiving. To me, that was like, no, that is so like anti-holiday-ish, you know, all about like home cooking.
You
like
have
the cooking
to have the home cooked meal.
Yes, that was definitely like, I was pretty judgmental about it. But my sister-in-law was like, it's freaking delicious. You should just do it. Try it. And she was 100% right. So likelihood is, especially because it's going to be probably just my stepdad and I don't think that with COVID that I'll be going to any family gatherings, even if they are having them, that we're probably going to do Cracker Barrel. That being said, my diet is, I am a bit more strict than I was last 2 years. So I might do some of my own cooking. So one thing that I like, when I was on a really strict diet, which you might be on right now, and by saying I was on a strict diet, I like to clarify that there was just a lot of foods that didn't agree with me. And that's why I chose to have a more restricted diet. If it was going to hurt me, I didn't want to eat it. So I found that one of the best ways to combat going to family's house to hang out and everything was just to eat before I went, because then when I was there, I wasn't really tempted because I was already full. And I don't usually like stuff myself to oblivion because I just feel like shit if I do that. So if I was satisfied with my meal before I even left, I wasn't tempted. So I would suggest that eat before you go somewhere. Then you're really not even tempted. Or just bring your own stuff. Like you can always bring a side option and be like, I brought a gluten-free stuffing or something. And everyone might be like, ooh. And so maybe all you eat is your gluten-free stuffing and some of the ham, for example. Or if you're not doing meat, then maybe you just have the gluten-free stuffing. And that's okay. So you can always bring a dish or eat before you go.
Another thing, like if you've got like a food allergy issue or just stuff that's not sitting well with you, like communicating that to the other people that are bringing food of like, hey, by the way, like I can't eat this. Maybe just have people be aware of that. If you want some help with maybe how to go about that, we actually, Leah was on our podcast earlier this year, and she's great when it comes to food allergies. You can find her at the Food Allergy Institute on Instagram. And I know that I've started to see her post some like holiday specific tips when it comes to food allergies. So she's the expert. You should go check that out.
Yeah.
If you need help with it. And then something else we kind of want to touch on when it comes to food is kind of what Cassie, you were alluding to already, is like figure out like what's most important to you and what does your body really need. Because I love food, guys. Food is a big part of my life, but I also have eaten so much food that I've made myself throw up, and I don't enjoy that. It's not fun. And so being able to kind of, I've had to look at it. Well, it's not about Thanksgiving, how much food you can eat. It's what are my favorite foods that I want to eat at that time that I don't get the rest of the year, that I'm going to prioritize those foods. And you might be sitting there being like, Chelsea, I really like cookies, but if I eat a certain type of cookie, I feel like shit. Well, you have to make the decision of whether that is worth it for you. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And just be okay with those consequences. I don't want to sit here and be like, don't eat food that makes you feel shitty all the time. Because, I mean, I enjoy eating Chick-fil-A every once in a while, and it does not always end well. But sometimes it's worth it. And I'm like, I'm okay if I feel like shit for a few hours or for the next day. It's okay. Make that choice for you, but also try to think about what does your body really need? Like, do you need to have that second or third helping? Or should you maybe get some water and just sit there? Think about that. So it's all about balancing it out for you. And again, it's the holidays. Sometimes there's only food that you get that time of year. What's most important to you? Is it feeling good? Is it tasting the food? You need to make that decision for yourself. And whatever decision you make is okay.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. I know you're enjoying this episode of the Real Life Show, Living with a Chronic Illness, but we're going to pause for a moment because I want to tell you about our most recent offering to help you live your best life. It is mywellnesshub.co. At mywellnesshub.co, you will find a comprehensive resource library for chronic illness individuals to live their best life. You know, all those hours you spent searching on Google to find that thing that's going to help your pain, or that thing that's going to help you feel better, or what type of diet to work, what books to read, what podcasts to listen to, you know, all the stuff. Well, we're putting all of that into one single resource library to make it easy for you to find the resources you need. And as part of that, we have our membership site, The Hub, where we're providing education for you at the low cost of $15 a month. You're going to get classes from experts around the freaking world, multiple times a month, multiple times a week. You'll have access to the recordings from the past, all sorts of really, really good stuff. So make sure you go check out mywellnesshub.co. So one of the big reasons why we were inspired to make this podcast and presentation has to do with seeing family that may or may not be supportive, and how to answer the question, how are you? Because we know that if you've got a chronic illness, you're going through some shit, that how are you is kind of a loaded question. So first off, when it comes to your family, focus on the people in your life that are supportive. If cousin Bob is not supportive and doesn't believe that you're actually sick because you don't look sick, then maybe you just don't take a lot of time to talk to cousin Bob, or you stay far away from the conversation of your illness with cousin Bob. So focus on the people that are supportive. I think, Cassie, last year at our in-person meeting, you shared that at some family events, you've chosen to sit next to people that you know are a little bit more supportive.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
others.
totally. That's right. Like at Thanksgiving last year, one of my kind of like distant family members on my in-laws side was kind of like, oh, hey, I saw your post on Facebook about your energy, you know, so how many spoons do you have today? And I was like really taken aback, like, oh my God, they've been like following my social media journey, and they actually like read about what it means to be a spoonie, and they asked how many spoons I have and if I went over them today. And it really meant a lot to me. And that was kind of like a person that I didn't know I like had in my corner. So that was super nice. It made me feel really comfortable right off the bat. But yeah, I would either, like Chelsea and I had talked about, when someone asks you how you're doing, you can almost like open doors.
We have a whole, like, I guess, recommendations of ways you can respond to that.
Exactly. And so you could kind of be like, oh, you know, like right now I'd probably say, well, you know, I'm still recovering from surgery, which has been pretty tough. But you know, my podcast is going really well, and I've just gotten back to teaching Pilates. You know, how are things going with you? And that gives them the choice of, do they want to talk it kind of puts the ball in their court, which in some ways protects you. Like they could either ask me about the surgery, or they could focus on Pilates or podcast or whatever. They can kind of choose the topic if they want to continue the conversation. But we have talked to other people that often they do feel more private, or like they don't want to discuss how they're feeling, and they might just say, I'm doing really well, how are you? And you have the choice to do that. You don't always have to be like 100% honest. You can protect yourself by just saying, I'm doing fine, how you doing? Or if you are feeling a little bit starved for that authenticity and you do want to be honest, then you can just go for it and be like, I really feel like crap, I'm super tired, life is feeling really hard, you know, but I really appreciate you asking how I'm doing, you know, and just kind of leave it at that, if that's how you want to do. So find what aligns best with you. Oh, here, this is what our slide says right now. How are you? It's a loaded question.
I know, I changed it because we started talking about that from family. You made a beautiful transition, so I changed the slide.
Perf. That's why we made that slide come next.
Yes, because past us was like really smart.
Yay! Hopefully we feel that way a year from now. Past us was really smart.
But again, it depends on what you're comfortable sharing, and also just know who you're talking to. So I know when I ask Cassie how she's doing, I hope that I'm a safe person for her to be honest when she wants to be.
Yes.
I also understand, because people ask me how am I doing all the time, and like sometimes I'm honest with, oh, I'm really stressed out, or I'm not feeling very good, I'm really tired, or whatever. And other times I'm like, oh, I'm fine, because I just don't want to talk about it, and that's okay. And so you get to decide. So we kind of have said that like the easy answer sometimes is just to divert, and you pick the other thing you want to talk about instead of how you're feeling. Because not everyone is going to be really receptive to it, and you might not feel comfortable sharing that information at that point in time either. And then sometimes the really like quote unquote hard answer to give is to be open and honest, because depending on who you're talking to, they don't want to hear that you've been sitting on the toilet for the past 5 hours shitting yourself because you just can't.
That's like basically how I started out my coffee conversation this morning. I texted her and I was like, sorry.
That example, because it's you. And I feel like that's been your life at points in time.
I texted her. She's like, I'm on my way. And I was like, I'm brushing my teeth and walking out the door. And then I texted her like 10 minutes later when I was at a stoplight. And I was like, I'm late because I had to poop again. I'll be late. And then I was speeding, and then I found out my tags were expired. So it was a bad deal.
You didn't get pulled over, right?
No, I didn't get pulled over.
Okay,
We're all good. And I got an alarm set on my phone for in 20 minutes to do my tax online. But
okay, so total distraction.
Yes, just wanted to mention that is real life. Like pooping is part of my daily conversations. Okay, continue, yes. Chelsea.
And so, but you don't always want to share your pooping experiences with everybody.
No, I don't want to talk to my clients about it.
Yeah, so like you don't. I feel honored when you tell me about your poop situation.
Oh my God, thank you.
Because I'm like, oh, thanks for sharing that with me.
It's honored poop.
And so you all listeners get to choose how open and honest you want to be and with who. Again, you get to choose. You get to choose. All right? Your choice. And so what Cassie and I, because we spent actually a good amount of time a year ago brainstorming, how do you respond for how are you? And so we also kind of thought of like the middle ground where Cassie was talking earlier, of where you get to kind of talk about your health and how you're actually feeling, but you don't have to maybe divulge everything, and you can maybe give them something else to ask you about, and they get to kind of pick. So like, for example, some like the formula we came up with is a snippet about your health plus something else going on in your life. For example, with my health, I take it day by day, but work is going really well. Or I'm on a new medication that's working great, and I've gotten all my Christmas shopping done. Spoiler, we recorded this a lot closer to Christmas and did this presentation closer to Christmas.
Yes,
well, I know this episode is coming out closer to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right.
And another option could be like, I wasn't feeling great most of the weekend, but it ended up being all right because I did a ton of Christmas shopping online. So you kind of are like, well, here's a little bit, and here's a little bit of something else, and then people can kind of pick. And then that kind of takes some of the pressure off of you. Oh my gosh, we're at the end of our slides.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
This is such a cute presentation.
And so at this point in our live presentation, which we don't do anymore because the world has changed, we basically at that point in time offered our group that was with us to bring up anything else that was a kind of challenge for them around the holidays, things that they were maybe stressed about or nervous about. We did have this meeting again after Thanksgiving, before Christmas. So like, what didn't go well over Thanksgiving? How can we make Christmas maybe a little bit smoother? Mm-hmm. And we brainstormed as a group. So all of you listening to this episode, one, you should take a screenshot of it wherever you're listening, and then you should put it on Instagram, and you should tag us at The Real Spoonies Unite with whatever your favorite tip was, or just like, oh, we listened, yay, happy day. We'll reshare your story. We love when you all tag us saying that you're listening. And then two, you can share this on your stories, or if you don't want to, you can always message us. You can let us know what you're maybe struggling with when it comes to the holidays, or what you're nervous about for this year, and we'll help you out as best we can.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for next week, because also as a Spoonie and the holidays, online shopping and Black Friday is going to be your friend online. Okay. Like,
yeah, especially this year.
Yeah, online. And we are going to have a real special, incredible Black Friday offer. We can't tell it to you right now, but stay tuned and follow us on social, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, or if you're not on social media, we have a great email list of which you would get great notification of this amazing Black Friday offer that we have in store for you. And so, Chelsea, how do people sign up for our email list?
So probably the easiest way is to go to mywellnesshub.co and maybe scroll down just a little bit, and there'll be a pop-up box that'll be like, do you want to put your email in here? And you're going to be like, yes, I do. And if you put your email in there, you also get our free flare triage checklist.
Yeah, to help you get ready for your next flare.
Because we know that flares suck. And I even do this as a quote unquote healthy person. Because sometimes when I have, I guess my version of flares is anxiety. And so when my anxiety spikes, it's not necessarily the same as a chronic illness flare, but there are some similarities. And so those are, I use kind of the same concepts of how can I help myself feel a little bit better.
Totes.
Kind of a fun little checklist, and you get that for free just for joining our email list.
Yeah, and then you can be the first to know about our Black Friday specials, and those are probably going to really help you. And we're going to have a holiday gift guide, so stay tuned, friends, and take care of yourself through the holidays.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please write us a review to help us reach more people like you.
If you'd like to connect with Cassie and I, you can find us on Instagram at The Real Spoonies Unite. You can also join our private Facebook community, Spoonies Unite, or you can visit our website, therealspooniesunite.com, for all sorts of resources and to stay up to date with our current projects. And don't worry, you can find all of these links in the show notes below.
Thank you to our wonderful Spoonie patrons for all your support, and you can become one too. That's right. All you have to do is go on over to patreon.com/therealspooniesunite, and you can get all sorts of extra goodies like videos of our episodes and more.
Any support is greatly appreciated. It helps enable us to create more content for all of you, as well as make this podcast sound better and better. Thanks for listening. We can't wait to be back in your ears soon.